What do you do besides performing to make yourself feel like a fully rounded human being? You know, like so much of our lives are just all about this job.
Yeah.
What else do you do?
In LA or New York, when someone says, "How are you?" people immediately start talking about what they're doing or what they're working on or what tape or whatever. It's being in this business is so fully encompassing. It informs almost every aspect of your life, be it recreational, be it relationships, be it people. So I try to like go out and get in nature and touch grass or smoke it and like go up Runyon or go up a hill or go to the beach and just realize I'm a speck on this earth, and I just hope that I can use the gifts that the universe gave me to make the world a better spot. And I'm done. I think I'm at a point where I haven't given up, but I'm done chasing the dream, because all my dreams have come true. I had a #1 album on Billboard, a comedy album. I was in A Star Is Born, and I got major laughs. I wrote a best-selling book. I've led a West End show. I've done a New York hit. I've been in every state except 4 of them performing. So I'm at peace with myself, and I feel like I've made it. And even though people don't know my name, or breakdowns will come out that say we need a Willam Belli type, and then I try to get in for it and they won't let me in for it because I'm oversaturated, which is what they said. I was like, you don't even know my name and I'm oversaturated? Obviously not, but like you can't argue with that because these gatekeepers. What was the question again?
Willam Belli is an iconic drag queen, sought-after film, TV, and stage actor, singer, dancer, a masterful reality television star, and a best-selling author who is primarily known by only his first name, Willam. He is a triple threat, one might say a hexagonal threat, having mastered the arts of acting, singing, dancing, comedy, hosting, and elevating the status of what it means to be a celebrity. Willam Belli, simply put, is a GOAT. In 2012, as a contestant on Season 4 of RuPaul's Drag Race, Willam became the first contestant to be disqualified from the competition during its 8th of 14 episodes. What might have spelled out career suicide for someone else became Willam's catalyst into the stratosphere of celebrity and allowed him to build his own cottage industry. At the time of this recording, 12 years after his expulsion from Drag Race, Willam Belli remains one of its most popular and beloved contestants of all time. For some, it might seem as though his Drag Race appearances were the beginning of his TV career. But Willam's overnight success started on TV 10 years before Drag Race, in 2002, with an acting guest spot on CBS's political drama series, The District. That big break led to a successful string of, get this, 24 guest star roles over the next 10 years, including Boston Public, Cold Case, The Shield, Eve, Arrested Development, My Name is Earl, Nip Tuck, CSI, CSI New York, Criminal Minds, and one of my favorite police dramas, Southland. During this same time period, Willam's side hustle was as a highly sought-after drag performer and Los Angeles theater actor who regularly played throughout the city. A little-known fact that I know because I work on the inside of show business is that RuPaul personally asked Willam to compete on Drag Race for several years before Willam finally said yes to Season 4. His reticence was because he feared being a reality show contestant would compromise his acting career. In hindsight, Willam was right. It did change. After Drag Race, Willam began appearing in larger, more central roles, but often as his drag persona, and usually in comedic reality shows, like his remarkable turn as a judge on Out TV's iconic Justice, and his own productions like Beatdown, Race Chasers, and Suck Less. 38 feature film credits in 16 years led Willam to another overnight success story, his enormously popular turn in 2018's A Star is Born, opposite fellow queen Shangela and the film's two stars, Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. Although Willam and Shangela are now immortalized as a comedic duo on the silver screen, it's Willam's small screen and touring stage performances with yet another Drag Race alum, Alaska Thunderfuck, that are widely considered to be his most prolific and best known amongst Drag Race fans. Willam is that rare blend of charisma, uniqueness, nerve, talent, and one more thing that RuPaul has but doesn't ever mention is also important, and that is a head for business. In the 23 years that I have had the pleasure of knowing Willam, I have enjoyed watching his star rise as I marvel at how he continues to, if I can quote another iconic reality competition series, outwit, outlast, and outplay everyone around him. My name is G. Charles Wright. I am a TV casting director and an audition coach for actors. I have had the great fortune of becoming friends with some of the entertainment industry's most prolific, groundbreaking, and awe-inspiring actors, writers, producers, and performers. Throughout this series, I will be interviewing actors who have significantly reshaped TV, film, and stage with their immense talent, commitment, and diversity. And since I am a casting director and they are actors, I'm recording these interviews just like a self-tape, and I'm calling them the self-tape tapes. Now let's get into the GCW Studios interview with the living legend, Willam Belli. What was your first paid acting job?
My first paid acting job was Tony and Tina's wedding. I just turned 17. I was in Philadelphia. It was like dinner theater immersive. And I was fired, I think, 14 months later.
Why?
They said I did something which I never did. They said I called a customer the C word and threw spaghetti at her. First of all, it was ziti. Second of all, I didn't throw it, put it on her plate. And third of all, I never said the C word really, because my mom said it was the worst thing you could call a woman ever. And I was like, I didn't say that. And they wanted to get rid of me anyway, just because they couldn't take all this star power. I was born in Philly, went to school in Jersey until I was about 12, went to Florida, went to school there till I was 16, moved back to Philly, got emancipated. Growing up in Philly and Florida, I knew I needed more attention than what was readily available to me in those spaces. I tried costuming because I was like designing. People were like, oh, you're gonna be a fashion designer. I was like, these are for me. And I kept just like figuring out ways to get people to look at me, whether it's like, oh, the costumers should get a clap, an applause at the end. And they're like, no, that doesn't happen. And I saw my uncle named Charlie Doherty on television on Alf when I was a kid. And my aunt was a director for like shows like Major Dad and the Hughleys and like all kinds of shows I grew up watching. So I was like, oh, I could do that. I could be in Hollywood. She told me, don't come to Hollywood without a SAG card. So I went to New York first, got my SAG card doing extra work, did an MTV show at the Limelight, got my SAG card on that. First job I ever submitted for, got union. It was like just luck of the draw that I did drag, and it was like a higher rate thing that they said, here's your vouchers. I was like, what's a voucher? The other extras were like, hold on to them for dear life, people will steal them. And I have seen people's vouchers go missing on set, like back in the day. And probably maybe like over 5 jobs, under 10 jobs, like a Law and Order, some other little like backgroundy stuff that I did in drag. Sex and the City was like the only notable one in my head. And then at that point, I was like, there's nothing for me left in New York. I couldn't get past a dance call. So I was like, let me move to LA. If I'm gonna be an artist and broke, I'd rather be poor and warm than poor and cold. And now I'm neither.
What kind of acting training have you had?
My acting training consists of 1 class from the inimitable Sue Ann Spoke. I was gifted it for a Christmas present from my 2-time Emmy-winning aunt, Mary Lou Belli, and it's the only class I've ever been to. She bought me a package and I went to most of them. I just, from what I do, I found it not a waste of time, but a waste of time, because like it was a lot of people that, I mean, we've been in this industry combined probably 50 years total at least. Sometimes you just know when someone's not made for Hollywood. You're like, no, you can't even figure out Velcro.
Yep.
Like, there's some people that aren't long for this town. And there were a lot of people like that, and it was just like heartbreaking seeing like them consistently trying, failing at doing barefoot in the park monologues. Like that was ever going to help them in North Hollywood. Like, that Russian accent is thicker than fucking borscht, and you think you're going to be playing Paul and Barefoot in the Park? It's not happening. So it was a little disheartening, and it's not like I'm going to get called in for classical stuff or big meaty scenes. Those characters were not written for me. I'm sidekick energy. I know what I do. And they taught me one thing in that class, and they said, hurting children is never funny. Because I had this whole thing about babysitting and how I was a terrible babysitter, and they're like, you won't gain any points with hurting children ever. I was like, okay. They don't tip anyway. Yeah, so that was my one acting training. And then I also went to Real Pros in the Valley and met a lot of wonderful casting directors. They used to do classes and actually teach people. It wasn't a pay for play like how it was back, maybe it was, I don't know. But back in the day, it felt like you were actually getting something. You were meeting with people that you couldn't meet with otherwise. These golden gates were closed on the studios, and these casting directors, how do you meet them? So this was a way to get in front of them, and sometimes there was something that they saw that made them call you in and give you a part. I mean, I met the Boston Public casting director at a Real Pros. I met you at a Real Pros. I met one of my agents, Todd Justice, at a Real Pros. I met so many people that in the 23 years that I've been in LA now have popped up in my career throughout. And I've written everything down in a file. The first entry was September 15th, got to LA yesterday, 2001. And every day I write something. If I did something career related, whether it's an audition, mailed something away, had a meeting with this person and their name at this agency for this show. So if I ever think like, G. Charles Wright, where did I can type Control F and write in G. Charles Wright, and it'll say, oh, 2001, 2005, 2007, all these times that you've met him, that you've been in the room. Maybe you didn't get the part, but they liked you enough to keep calling you back. So I think like my training was my kind of like just my OCD, like writing everything down so you remember, so you're like a steel trap.
What program do you use to write all that stuff?
Notepad. It's from 2001.
Yes.
I have to open up another file before I open that one, because otherwise it opens up all jarbly. I'm so low tech.
What's your proudest career moment?
Would you like my proudest career moment? Television, theatrically, or on the stage?
I would like all of them.
Okay, my proudest career moment in television. Oh, that's tough. Is it going to be something I liked or something that was actually good? I had a really good year in 2005. I was cast in a pilot with Marta Kaufman called Related, which was her follow-up to Friends. I was cast on the pilot of My Name is Earl. And then I was cast on Nip Tuck in a one-episode guest star. So 2005 was my proudest moment. But Nip Tuck was probably the best one, because it was the third or fourth role I had auditioned for, and Ryan Murphy told me to my face that I almost got another role before this one. And this role ended up working out. I had done extra work on the season finale of season 2 with curly hair, and then season 3, episode 2, an audition came up for a girl named Cherry. They said they wouldn't see me at UDK. They said I was too old. I lived less than a mile from the office. I walked to the office on Laurel Canyon, walked in, saw my friend, who I stamp his wrist every Sunday at the clubs, never charging him. His name's Eric. Hi, Eric Soulier. And then he's like, what are you doing here? I was like, there was a breakdown that came out, and they said I was too old. This acne says otherwise. I can play a teenager. I'm 21. He's like, hold on. He gets the U in UDK to pop his head out the office and give me a look and then give him an appointment. Gives me an appointment. And this was after my agent tried to submit me and then called back again, still wouldn't let me. I get the appointment, I go in, I do the reading, and Robert says, well, when it works, it works. Can you come back Monday? I said, yeah, of course. Come back Monday, go to Paramount. I was in the audition room with Alexandra Billings and I think Carson Kressley. And Carson Kressley was like, so you girls do this a lot? Yo, you actressing? Like, we were just like, can we prepare? So I booked that part. And they liked me enough on that episode that they ended up writing 3 more episodes to include me in, which was a huge honor for me. And then Ryan said, you're gonna come back for all of season 4 after he had buried me alive, shovels full of dirt on my face. And then the network lost a bunch of sponsors due to focus on the family, protesting The Shield, Nip Tuck, all of FX's violent programming. And some of the violence had to go for Nip Tuck, and that meant eliminating a violent character like me who liked to piss on her lovers, beat them up with a gang of roving transgender individuals, and what else did I do? Oh, I killed a Nazi with a shovel. So Nip Tuck, that's my proudest television moment. My proudest film moment is A Star Is Born, because for me, it's the culmination of everything that I've ever wanted in my career. It's proximity to famous people. It's being funny, getting to be in drag, at a club. All of these things just came together. It was like one giant RuPaul's Drag Race challenge because, you know, there's improv challenges and little skit scats that you get to do on those sets. This was Bradley Cooper saying, throw out the script, just act how you would backstage. And me and Shangela had a moment where we were like, we've worked together enough that we know what we're doing, and we railroaded it. We had them peeing. Gaga came up behind me and said that was amazing. The only note switched these 2 jokes around. Bradley loved it. And I mean, in every interview that Bradley gave where he was asked about me, he called me gold once. It was thrilling to watch someone else from Philly like him compliment someone else from Philly like me who, you know, came up, we were just doing our best, and like we ended up coming together, and he was a giant part of the movie, but I was a small part of a great film. And to have RuPaul 1 chair and 1 chair over in front of me at the premiere, seeing like her girls shine, I couldn't think of a moment that RuPaul could be prouder of, seeing her girls just shine. And then my proudest moment theatrically was, well, internationally, it was Death Drop in the West End. I got to lead a West End show. I was the last bow. I never thought I would do that, like at the West End. Like, I didn't even think I'd get a visa. And then New York, it was treading the boards there in Titanic, which was super fun, and just like a riotous good time. I had one good song, hit some high B's, hit it, quit it, bye. And then in Los Angeles, the West Coast, my premiere theatrical engagement was probably Rock of Ages, and getting to do that was a gift. And I'm still friends with a lot of people from the cast. Many people from the creative team still won't work with me. Don't try to fight the choreographer. Don't do it, guys. Don't take my word. The director will always side with the choreographer. But it was a great time, and I'm friends with the choreographer now. I thought it was better in LA, but
it was great.
I saw it in New York, and it was still a great show. And then the movie. Oof. I went down to the movie to be in it. They were like, you're gonna get to ride in a convertible with Tom Cruise. In one of these shots, we have it all set up for you. I get there, and they hand me an extra voucher, and I was like, where's Matt? Where's Carl? Where's the producers? They're like, oh, they're gonna come talk to you. Stay right here. I stood in the same spot for 45 minutes. No one came to talk to me. So then they're like, okay, just go with the other extras. And I was like, what's going on here? And then when it came time for lunch, I still hadn't talked to anybody. And they're like, go get in the line with the extras again. And I was like, what's failing to compute here? Like, I was promised I was gonna sit next to Tom Cruise in a car for a shot where he, like, what is happening? They're like, we don't know anything about that. I see one of the producers walking towards me before lunch, and I was like, hey, what's up? What are we doing? And is this shot happening? He's like, no, but we'd love to have you for the rest of the day. We'll find something special for you. And I was like, and then I'm like, okay. So I'm still in line. I get up to the food. And once I saw what food was left, I was like, oh, I'm out. If this is how they're treating people on this set, I don't need to be here another hour, let alone another day. So I left the set, and then a week later I was on Drag Race. So I was like, this acting thing is not gonna work out. I gotta do some reality TV.
With everything you've done, do you still have to hustle?
Yes, with everything I've done, I still have to hustle. I have 4 residual checks back there that I'm waiting to cash. One was for $11, one was for $6, one was for 33 cents, and the big one, $16. But like last week I got like a $325 Star is Born check, which was, that just pops up at random times where you're like, oh, this is helpful. But I also have $758 that I owe to SAG. I hustle a lot. I have Airbnb properties I do costume rentals, I do studio rentals. People use this as a dance space. What else do I do? I've flown 2.5 million miles since 2012 on Delta, going to clubs, parties, colleges, anywhere someone will pay me to do something, I go. And when people say, oh, you're an actor, I'm like, yes, that's all I ever wanted to be called my whole life. But for me, acting has just been about being a really good liar. I just pretend I'm something else and I'm lying. And I lie to myself most of all.
So you know how on an actor's resume, like on your resume, you have special skills. What are some of your special skills?
What can I do? Oh, I can ride on a hoverboard in high heels. I'm thinking of all the things that I could get paid more for on a set as an extra, because that's what classifies as special skills for me. I'm a stand-up comedian, but I can also do it while seated. What else? I can juggle. I can ice skate. I can throw something in the air and catch it in my mouth on cue. I can bomb it on cue. What else can I do? I can swallow my fist.
What can we see? Wow.
I did that in a movie with Ben Stiller, and they called cut and everybody was just quiet, and then Ben started cracking up and then everybody laughed. And I was like, oh great. Didn't even make the final movie. It was called The Watch. I still get residuals for it. They flew me to Atlanta. I spent all my per diem at a strip club called Swingin' Richards. And I remember showing up on set the next day and they're like, yo, late night. And I was like, ooh. I love locations. Yeah, so those are my talents.
How do you handle preparing for auditions?
How I handle preparing for auditions is, my first thing is to get your eyes off the page. If you have material in your hands in front of something that shows the person you're reading with that you didn't devote as much time to this as you could have. Unless it's like a giant 6-pager monologues, you're on the stand testifying. I mean, even if it is that, and then you devote enough time where you're off book, they'll see, oh, you're ready to work. You can do this. You know what you're doing. So my first tip with auditions is getting rid of the shit that you have to hold that makes you not 100% the person you're trying to portray. My second tip is make them want to work with you. I feel like I was always better with live auditions instead of in tape because I'm good in a room. I have charisma. I can make people laugh. I can remind them where they saw me or where they worked with me. I can immediately crack a joke. That's what I do. Drag queens make spaces more welcoming. That's why people have them at clubs and parties and stuff. They're fun. So I would say make them want to work with you. Be memorable. If there's action in a scene, use the room. I remember on Nip Tuck, I got up, I threw myself over a boardroom table and then threw myself on the ground. Chair went scatter and hit the wall, but it was a fight scene where I was getting beat up. So I was gonna show them the action for why I was saying these words. And Mary Lou Belli told me that. She's like, you can't just read it. You got to do it. And my first talking job on TV was a Craig T. Nelson show called The District. And I went in and I did what Mary Lou told me to. And the casting director told me I was the only one who got out of my chair. And I was like, I did my job. It's what you have to go in, and you won't always get the job, but your job is to do the best job that you can. There's so many factors that could contribute to why you wouldn't get the job. Maybe you're 2 inches taller than the actor that you're next to, or maybe you're both blondes, or maybe, I don't know. There's so many reasons. Once I'm done with the audition, I throw the sides out because I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about the whys. I can't control anything beyond that point, so I'm done. So I just say go in, do the best job, do your job as an actor. And every audition, like even if like you don't get it, you still got to do something that you wanted to do that day, which is acting, usually. You know what? Yeah, what makes me feel good as a person and that I can contribute to this industry and the world of arts and stuff is helping other people, because all of my dreams have come true at this point. Not all of them, but a lot of them, my major ones have. And if I can help someone else have a little share of their dreams come true, because I've had so much success that I'm just like gagged. Sometimes I'll look at someone and I'll be like, I forgot I did that, because I like wake up and I went to the auditions and I actually made it and I put in the work. So now I like lend girls clothes for Drag Race, help them with their packages. I wrote all of Lady Camden's comedy stuff for her season. I write a lot for other girls and their seasons. I help them produce stuff. I give them lights. I give them spots to film. I feel like fostering a sense of community amongst artists is important, and that might be my legacy. I feel like maybe, I don't know. I'll definitely be in movies and TVs for the rest of my life, as long as we keep doing repeats and I keep getting jobs here and there. But like I feel like my legacy is that of like being a true cancer, like creating spaces, helping people, being Captain Save-A-Ho, and I don't know. I feel like one day someone will be like, oh, this would be a great location to film. You should be in this. Because I do rent this spot out for locations. Because sometimes they rent out this spot even just to let actors stand. Or this person needs to make a phone call. There was a Nicole Kidman movie and Nicole Kidman had to make a phone call. So they rented this place out. And I was like, this is crazy. And then she didn't even set foot in here. Not even set foot. Guardians of the Galaxy. If you look at the Christmas special, you see my spot all lit up and like. So I feel like one day someone will use this in a movie location. Be like, do you have any interest in being on camera? And then it'll change everything. Then it'll be like overnight sensation, burning sensation. Well, I hustle every day. I wake up and wonder, how are my bills gonna get paid? Will anyone care about me, or will anybody stop and notice? But then you go to a store and someone will be like, hey, weren't you in a Proactive commercial?